How you doing, guys? Welcome back to Coffee and Juice. So is it possible that living in Thailand or visiting for a long amount of time, let's say, can you go through a depressive state that possibly can make you part of the high flyer club? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about being depressed in Thailand. So stick around and I'm going to break it down. So I've been off the grid for a little bit. I was working on a personal project in California, and I come back and it seems that Thailand is blowing up with all this current events regarding visas, taxes, the government, so on and so forth. But something that I did a video on about 5 months ago when I first started publishing on the channel is that people are becoming members of the High Flyers Club. Now, if you don't know what that means, is that people, for whatever reason, and we're going to talk about it today, again, is that when they come to Thailand, it seems that this is their last stop. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people come here, all different age groups, and they say, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to go to the highest part of a building and I'm going to jump off and end my life. So let's get into why or how come these things are happening is that, and can you also be depressed living out here in Thailand? So let's talk about the first thing that maybe people don't think about when it comes to, alleged suicide or people jumping off buildings is that just keep in mind I come from a former law enforcement background. So if you're a smart criminal, what you'll do is that you'll say, hey, this particular event is quite prevalent out here. So let me just gently nudge somebody for whatever reason off a ledge, and it'll probably be under the guise or covered up as someone, jumping to their death, and if it doesn't get investigated correctly, etc., it basically goes off the grid. And basically that's one way that you got disappeared. But now let's talk about depression in Thailand and why it might occur. So the question is, how could you be depressed in basically paradise? See, from the surface, people look at their lives in their home country and they say, hey, you know what? It's got to be better on the other side. So the thing is that what if I told you, if you got some money in your pocket, that you can have anything that you want, anything that you can dream up regarding a fantasy can be basically ascertained out here in Thailand. And a lot of yous are like, you know what? That sounds fucking great. It sounds amazing. But the thing is that just imagine that you maxed out on every fantasy that you can ever have in your lifetime. Now, is there anything to motivate you in life? Depending on your age, and we talk about depression, and actually Will Smith actually spoke about that because who knows what kind of life that guy lives, is that when you can have anything you want at your fingertips, basically there's nothing to live for at that point. So now when we think about what can make you jump off a building, once again, which is prevalent out here, is that there's a mixture of certain things that are happening. So let's say you're an older gentleman, all right? Maybe you're going through your second divorce. Can you have everything that you want out here? I just said that you probably could. But what if there's something that a girl you really like? But the dilemma is, once again, is that if you really like something out here, there's probably a line of 100 or 150 other guys that are basically liking the same thing you're like. So you may not be in the running for that particular girl or lady boy, depending on what you're into. So now that's where depression could once again set in. You're so used to that dopamine hit that you would get of basically acquiring everything that you wanted, but then you can't have that. And you get a little spoiled. Now, if we also had to mix that with, here's someone who's at the bar all day drinking alcohol. Alcohol, if you didn't know it, is a depressive substance. So that could once again launch you into a depression. And also out here, We got the cannabis once again. Now, when we start mixing all these substances, plus there's other substances out here that I can't say, but you know, you have to think about the powders, the potions, the lotions, whatever it might be. So with all these things started mixing around in a pot, this could basically make you gravitate to jumping off a building. So now also when I talk about substances or compounds, which is once again a vector of my channel, once again, the contingent out here of 25 till around 65 is that everyone's on some form of TRT. Now, a lot of you are cranking gear, and some of the gear that you take, basically, who knows how good it is, but also it puts your brain into a tizzy where you, once again, have no perception of reality and you become quite delusional. So now, along with you being delusional, we go back to this again, and I've seen it quite some time being out here, is that a lot of you are looking for love in all the wrong places. And I think what depresses the human being out here, more specifically the male, is that we all know that it's transactional out here. We know it. But at the same time, how depressing is that? That the only reason a woman is with you out here is because you put her on an allowance. Now, some of you, like as an example, met a guy out here, super nice guy, super good guy. He was new to the region. And I basically caught him in a little bit of a lie, but I didn't want to question him really. He basically said that he met a girl, blah, 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 this is happening, that is happening. And I basically said, I go, what's the buy-in? As boys would. And basically told me that I didn't give her anything. Now, listen, I happen to like the guy, I still do. But don't turn around and tell me that you did not put up some change, that you could be the most dashing human being in the world, a ton of personality. But at the end of the day, depending on who you are, you're basically coming out of pocket, speaking cryptically to you. So now, once again, when you absorb this information and you're out here, this could hit you in such a way that you might not like that. And you might say, you know what? This is basically the pinnacle of my life. I thought this was paradise. I can have anything I want, but then I'm still miserable. So you know what? At the end of the day, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to end it all. Now, what I recommend is that, and this is what I'll close with, is that and this also goes if you're in another country, if your life, morning, yeah, if your life, the nucleus of your world is a woman or women, especially at a certain age, what are you doing? You haven't learned from your past mistakes that you're basically offering yourself in a very weak way, sit by. And so what it is that this is this is like a ticket to nowhere. So what I recommend to get out of this alleged depression, and I see these guys talking about it, it makes sense. The thing is that you should be living a little bit like a monk, which means your fitness, your business, and then you sprinkle in the women every once in a while. I also do videos on holiday girlfriends and this, that, and the third. So what I'm saying is that you're complicating your life and you're leading yourself in a direction to be depressed. So once again, do yourself a favor. If you need help, get some psychological help out here. Come off the meds or go on meds. And hopefully you straighten things out for yourself. So coffee and juice. We'll talk soon and have a great day.